What's going on, everybody? My name is Scott Geirman. This is DodgerHeads presented by DodgerBlue.com. I'm here with Blake Williams, managing editor, good buddy of mine. Blake, how we doing?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
Pretty good. So we've got an exciting, couple weeks coming up here, trade deadline off in the horizon. But right now, we're prepping ourselves for the Home Run Derby, looking at the All-Star game, Futures game, draft coming up this weekend. But right now, we're going to focus on something that's exciting. One of the first-year Dodgers, Teoscar Hernández, my guy, our guy, accept an invite to the 2024 MLB Home Run Derby. One of the best power hitters this year. He's kind of, a lot of people calling it like a breakout season for him. Looks comfortable, looks excited to be in LA. And it's something that he was vocal about wanting to do and add a little feather to his cap. You excited to see him in the Derby?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Teoscar's a great guy. He always has a ton of fun out on the baseball field. So it's going to be good to see him out there competing. He obviously has the power needed to compete in that event. So it should be fun. I'm a little worried because Dodgers haven't typically fared very well in the Home Run Derby. I know Mookie didn't have a good showing last year. I think like Jock has been the only one who's really had a good event out there. Like we saw Puig go out and do it. He wasn't great. Matt Kemp wasn't great. Corey Seager, I think he was okay if I remember off the top of my head, but still didn't go very far in it. So just hasn't been a great history of Dodgers in the Home Run Derby. So hopefully Teo can kind of fix that a bit here.
Yeah, Jock was the controversial one. I think that was with Harper, right? I believe that was the one that the timing kind of came into it, and we were like, wait a minute. Yeah, I remember there were some issues with the timing and extra pitches there. So we'll get into some of the rules. But, Teoscar, very deserving, power hitter wise, but as far as he's been a 125 WRC plus guy, 19 homers on the season, 60 RBI. So he's just been a power hitter in a Dodgers lineup that is missing some bats. And he's kind of, entrenched himself as one of the premier bats in the Dodgers lineup in the National League and power hitters all over Major League Baseball. He's been terrific this year. You look at all of his stuff. Longest homer this year is 431 feet. He's got a terrific barrel rate, nearly 15%. So he's done a better job lately of reducing strikeouts. But it's a fun field. Like it's a fun slot this year. The field is set. So as I scramble to pull up the field for the rest of them, we've got Pete Alonso. He's won it a couple times. Adolis Garcia's back. Jose Ramirez, Marcelo Zuna, Bobby Witt Jr., and Gunnar Henderson. Anybody in there that you like kind of?
I think you forgot Alec Bohm, which
Alec Bohm, yes.
He probably shouldn't be on there. I think he has like 11 homers this year. He's a doubles guy. So kind of a weird choice there. My guy, Gunnar Henderson, going to keep rooting for him. Showing off the nerd power there. Hopefully he comes out with his lightsaber bat that he had on May 4th and his Lego cleats that he's been showing off. So that's my guy. Got to keep rooting for him. So my ideal finals would be Gunnar and Teoscar, but it's also hard to count out Pete Alonso. I mean, guy is built for the Home Run Derby. I feel like that's probably the only reason he's in the All-Star game, just so they can get him in the Derby, because he kind of usually carries that event. So I mean, tough to bet against Pete there. And I think Adolis won last year, and he's going to be the hometown guy this time. So potentially intriguing storyline there.
And last year it was Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Oh, okay.
So, Adolis Garcia, big power there. He's having kind of a down year, but it's exciting. He's just perennial power guy. But Pete Alonso's won it twice. So just like you said, a lot of people are looking at Polar Pete thinking he can do it again. It's kind of become a meme that he did his inclusion in there is just because that's what he's done. And he knows he's the heel. He knows he's the one that people like to boo when he steps in there. And it's just kind of what he's known for. But, he would tie, if he were to win it this year, he would tie Ken Griffey Jr. for the most home run derby titles. So it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. History, records are made to be broken, especially maybe home run derby records. If you were to put something on Pete or the field, you going to take Pete or the field? Not big predictions yet.
I'd probably take the field just because, you're getting so many more options there, but I think that's a tricky one. Like I could be talked into going with Pete there for that.
Yeah. So we're going to go into some rules. So there's some exciting stuff I like, changes I enjoy. And when they made swaps away from what they used to do, it just took some getting used to. But in the first round, there will be no more head-to-head matchups. And this is something that I actually like. This is something that, you'd get some of these first-round matchups that are interesting. And you'd be like, once they were done, they didn't match the home run total, they're immediately out. I like this is where you're going up there. It's going to be the top 4. So you're going to have no more head-to-head brackets. You're going to have all 8 hitters competing against each other. The top 4 are going to advance to the semifinal round. And there is definitely a cap on the number of pitches. It's going to be 40 for the first and the semifinal rounds. Is this a change that you like?
I think it's interesting. I mean, I feel like there's negatives and positives to it. We saw like a lot of guys hit way more homers in the past derbies, and then they got eliminated because of the head-to-head. And then you see guys with like 11 or 12 of them kind of sneak through. So it's going to make it more competitive from that sense. But every time you remove head-to-head matchups, that also takes away a little competition. I think there was some fun to that, like the 2 players competing against each other each round. But overall, I do like that the top 4 guys are going to advance. I think that's probably a good thing. We're going to see more homers just throughout, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's always kind of hard to predict these things until we actually see it play out, but I kind of get where they're going for with it.
Yeah. So my thing about the 40 pitches is in the pitch count, essentially, we'll get into the next round after this. But I mean, if you look ahead towards, so in the final round, hitters will still have the 2 minutes, but you will only get a maximum of 27 pitches a hitter can see. So what this tells me immediately is all you have to do is get Bobby Miller from the last few weeks to go out and be the pitcher. And you're guaranteed. I'm just messing, but it definitely adds another ripple into it that if you're, whoever's throwing you BP, whoever's throwing you pitches definitely has to be on their game because every pitch counts. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's always been like the effect of the pitcher helping out or hurting hitters a lot. Is even with the timer, like it's still such a key thing. I mean, I think it was Matt Chapman's dad who was pitching to him and he was throwing him like sliders away. And that was a huge thing at the time. And yeah, so like the pitcher always has an effect. But yeah, when you have a limited number of actual pitches, you can see like it's going to put a lot of pressure on them. I know Teoscar's going with Dino Ebel. I think Dino's done it a few times already as a pitcher. So he's got that experience there and hopefully it helps him out a bit. So should be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, I mean, a pitch total, that's got to put a lot of pressure on the pitcher there to actually go out and do their job.
Absolutely. So again, each hitter will have a 45-second timeout they can use in the final round. Same bonus applies for the first and the semifinal. And the tiebreaker rules for the semifinal will remain the same thing. But as far as the final round, there will be no bonus, like timer bonus, period. So instead, hitters will have 3 outs and will hit until you hit 3 outs. So there will be, let me see. So another twist, any 425-foot home run in the bonus field will earn a fourth out. So there are ways to get it. It's not as open-ended. So I like this a ton. I think this is going to be, in theory, you can have an unlimited amount of home runs. It's not just going to be timer-wise. It's if you get out. So you could potentially match what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did last year and hit 25 homers as long as you don't get outs. But if there's a hitter, just you see him on a roll and they just keep going and going, this could be going for a little bit. So now, we're going to talk some predictions. I want to know what Big Blake Williams, I want to know what you have, who you say. Are you going to stick with your guy Gunnar? Or are you going to go with someone who's got a little bit more stamina? Because it definitely, it's not just consistency. I think it's someone who has, like Gunner's had 27 homers this year as we record this. We'll see if it changes when this comes out. But do you think it comes more of someone with more stamina, more home run hitting? They've just been doing it there for their career, which is why I kind of lean towards, man, it's hard to bet against Pete. Or are you going to go Teoscar? Because Homer and me is going to take Teoscar just to see because I want to do it. But do you think you're going to lean more towards Gunnar again? Or are you going to go like Pete? You're going to go with somebody else like Marcell Ozuna? Where you got?
My heart wants me to go Gunnar, but my mind is saying Pete. So yeah. I think I have to go with Pete just until someone shows like that they're going to knock him off more often than not. I mean, Pete didn't win it the last time he was in it, but it's so tough to bet against him. Like it takes a great showing to beat him. And I do feel like this field has a little bit less of that kind of power factor that they've had. Like you don't have the Aaron Judge, you don't have the Stantons, you don't have Ohtani in it. So like Pete does seem like the premier home run, like only kind of guy in this field. So I think I'm going to go with him. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
because
hard
if
to
you
bet
look
against
back,
him.
I'm gonna go winner. I'm gonna go with the winners dating back all the way to 2017 when Aaron Judge won it. So last year, we're just gonna go in order: Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Juan Soto, Pete, Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, and then before that it was Stanton. And then Big Todd Frazier won it in 2015. So you see a lot of these guys; they just have violent swings, perennial home run guys, which is why, like, if someone like Alec Boehm or Gunnar Henderson were to win it. I would say that Gunnar Henderson, just for the year he's having, would be, I could buy into it. Alec Boehm, though, just like you said, big doubles guy. It's just hard to bet against Pete. But to take down Pete Alonso at all costs, we're going to say that we're going to roll with Adolis Garcia, Teoscar, and just for you, Blake, I'm going to say Gunnar Henderson. So I'm going to go with those three, and we're going to roll with it. And my heart's just going to say, just stick with Teoscar and just let it ride, baby. Because Marcell Ozuna, I don't want it. I don't want Pete. And we're just going to go there.
I don't want Ozuna to win it for reasons that should be obvious to a lot of fans who follow baseball. But I do feel like he would have a pretty good shot at winning it. I feel like he's the kind of big, powerful, like aggressive hitter, similar to the Pete Alonso mold that could end up going on a run there. So I do feel like he's kind of a sleeper for it more so.
What do you think about Jose Ramirez?
He's like 5'9" or something, 5'10". Like,
what do you got against short guys, Blake?
He just doesn't have like the stamina to keep up with Pete and some of these other guys. Like, he reminds me of how Mookie did last year, kind of thing. Like, I just don't really see it happening there. He's not built for the Derby. Great player, wow. Amazing, not built for it.
He's not built for it. Okay, all right. So final thing, who you rolling with? Give me one.
I just got to go with Pete.
Pete.
I'm not rooting for him. Like, I want him to get knocked off, but nah, he's my prediction.
We love it. Okay. All right. We're going to wrap it there. Leave us in the comment section who you think, if you think Pull It Pete, if you think he's going to repeat, be the third-time champion, tie the record of Ken Griffey, or you're going to go with someone fun, like Lightsaber Gunnar Henderson. You're going to say Marcell Ozuna. You're going to roll with Alec Boehm, Bobby Witt Jr., who's definitely interesting, one of the more exciting players up and coming around Major League Baseball. He's had a 468-foot bomb this year. And that's why it's just, if you want to see some fireworks, he's one of the pure power hitter. But he's gap to gap. He's all things. Like, he is one of the most terrific baseball players, in the league. So super exciting guy. If he does some exciting stuff, I won't be surprised, man. That'll be some fun. That'll be something fun to look out for. It's not the most, just like you said, superstar powered derby like we've seen in the past. Not the big names, but it's definitely interesting players, up and coming guys, and some players who have been doing it for a while. I wish we could have seen like Kyle Schwarber be in there. Maybe Jock would have done it for fun. But I like the field. I don't hate it. If I hated it, then it wouldn't be a big deal, but I like it enough to make me intrigued. I'm just going to roll. I'm going to say for fun, I'm going to say Bobby Witt Jr. I'm going to say Bobby Witt. Just give us a curveball, man.
Who do you have finishing last?
Who's finishing last?
Who's hitting the least amount? Let's throw out that prediction too.
Alec Boehm.
That's who I'm leaning with also. I think that's the obvious answer. I'll throw out Jose Ramirez too, just to mix it up a little. I mean, those are the two guys I see finishing as the worst too.
I think a lot of this new format comes in with stamina. I think a lot of it goes in with the stamina of the latter rounds. But we could also see a weird result, like Aaron Judge had 11 homers in the final round in 2017. If you just start to rattle off outs, that's it. So the final round could be pretty quick. Everybody's got to remember that. If it's just that's it, if you just hit a couple and then just go out, and that's it. So it's something to keep an eye on. So the first, I would say, I like what MLB has done and changed the rules so that you get to see these guys on the field and in the box for a longer period. But as far as the final rounds, it can be real quick or it can go for a bit, and that's when you get into some swing off scenarios possibly. So I like what they've done. So predictions wise, we're rolling with it. I like what we've got. This is good stuff. So I'm excited for it. Again, I'm Scott Geirman. This is Blake Williams, presented for DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. We'll see you with All-Star Weekend. A lot of fun stuff. Take care, everybody.